these people out here that are saying that there's this Harden narrative, right? John alluded to it, the playoff choker. But when they say it like that, for me, it comes off as people are making this up. Like people are just saying James Harden's a choker, or we're just taking one or two instances and that's it. Like, no, my guy, you just go back and look up. Just go back and look at the numbers, look at the tape, look at whatever you want to watch. It goes down in the playoffs. When he's in the biggest moments, he seems to shrink. And
37% shooting in game sevens.
yes, it's so I
think game 1 and games 4 were pretty big moments for
two of the biggest moments in his playoff career, Justin.
They were. That's what I'm saying,
slowly
though.
but surely kill the narrative. And if he can continue building that brand, what does that mean?
What was that?
If James Harden can continue building off of it, I felt like he was excellent in game 5, just controlling the game as a playmaker. Yeah. What does that mean in terms of his past history? Can he kind of wash that away?
No, you can't.
No, you can't. You can't. Like, one, again, it goes back to the exception and the rule thing. Like, I'll give him his credit if he does this consistently going up. I mean, I'm pretty sure still he has had more bad games than good games in this playoffs. But he's having some good games. He's having some great games. I mean, you go look at the shooting number. Go look at the shooting numbers, guys. I'm not making this up. Go look. Like, again, you guys are rolling your eyes like you're doing the recency bias. Go look at the fucking numbers. I'm not lying to you. I can pull up consistently from a 6-man in the finals in 2012 to now. James Harden has choked every way you can look at it. He has. But again, I literally said in my thing, hold on, John. I literally said in my thing, he could be a playoff choker and have great and good games.
No, Brandon's right there.
Like, both can be true. People both can be true. Well, it's okay.
He can also be evolving to assuage those narratives. James Harden's changed
not in one playoff series, John. When I can pull up 9 instances over the years, over the last decade, you can't just vanish that. This is not endgame. This is not snap the fingers and it's done. No, you have to do it consistently.
He can. Right now, he's playing very well, and it's because he's done things that he's never done in those 9 years. So this kind of feels like a second career for James Harden, a renaissance. So if he plays well this postseason and he helps Philadelphia get to the finals, something they didn't do with Jimmy Butler, well, then now we look at him as a guy that helped get Philly to the finals.
We look at him
in theory. They win a championship this year, Joel Embiid, right? Yeah. He should not be playing right now, and yet he looks like the best player in the Eastern Conference damn near some nights, and that is a pretty crazy thing to say. So Harden in one playoff run can at least start to change the narrative. He may not be able to wash it away, but slowly but surely the tide can turn if his game's changed, and now he's developed into kind of the ideal number 2. Look, the Celtics, the difference, Brand, is that they can't stop this Embiid pick and roll, and that starts with James Harden. He's the one initiating. James Harden is having his way with every 76ers defender, it feels, with every Celtics defender outside of Jaylen Brown. But even then, your boy Jaylen Brown, that's due for $295 million this offseason. If he stays in Boston, can't get around the screen well. He dies in half of them. So James Harden right now is really manipulating switches. He's done a good job in Robert Williams, Al Horford. And then for mid-range, the Celtics have had a bad game plan. Joe Mazzulla has made no adjustment. He's just having literally it's Al Horford or Robert Williams drop and pick and roll against Joel Embiid. You know, if it's Domantas Sabonis, that works. If it's one of the 3 or 4 best mid-range shooters of the position, it probably won't work. And it has not the last 3 games when they've gotten killed in pick and roll. So, Brand, I do agree with you. James Harden has had a pretty terrible playoff history, and this is crazy stuff right now. But, hey, look, a man can develop. And I'm happy to see him slowly changing the narrative because I want to see NBA players do well. James Harden right now is helping save his playoff legacy because not how you start, it's how you finish on things.
You know, this reminds me, I know you guys aren't baseball fans, but this is where I agree with Brandon that one big playoff run doesn't necessarily change the narrative. While, yeah, people start to see you in a nicer view, you still got to prove a little bit more in future playoff runs. Back in 2009, Alex Rodriguez was known as one of the worst postseason players you'd ever see. He was horrible in every big moment known to man, from years in 2004 where the Yankees are up 3 games to none Against the Boston Red Sox, we choke. He doesn't show up the rest of the way. 05, we get ousted. 06, he was so bad that Joe Torre had to bat him towards the bottom of the lineup. 07, bad in the postseason again. 08, missed the postseason. So he created this narrative where he's a playoff choker, MVP in the regular season, doesn't show up. 09 comes, has one of the greatest postseason runs of all time, carries the Yankees to their 27th world title. And then what does he do in 2010 when we get back to the playoffs? Goes back to his old ways. So you can have that magical run, but we're not going to dismiss your past. We'll acknowledge that insane postseason you had or those big moments that you had. But all in all, once a playoff choker, it really takes a lot for you to change that. So James Harden's having, and I'm rooting for him, having a big series right now for Philadelphia. And if Philadelphia goes on to the NBA Finals and wins one because of him or in large part with him, we're going to look at him in a nicer view. But at the same time, we'll see what happens next year. So this is nice for him. It's good to see that he's playing with his confidence. Maybe playing with Embiid helps, but
Justin, I don't think that always is true. Look at Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki had to go to the playoffs 11 times. It took him until his age 32 season to win a championship. Up until 2011, he had been knocked out in the first rounds 4 different times. He had lost to an 8th seed and then got the MVP given to him a day later. He was looked at as a playoff choker, a guy that couldn't get it done. And then in 2011, he had a great finals run against Oklahoma City, against Dallas. Or sorry, he was on Dallas. Against LA. He swept the defending champions. They could have went and got a 3-peat that season. He then goes and he beats the big 3 Miami Heat in their first year around. We don't talk about Dirk Nowitzki in the 4 years after when he was a first-round exit in all of those years. We look at Dirk Nowitzki as the NBA legend that finally got it done, right? And now James Harden has had a worse playoff resume than Dirk.
He's also played in 2 NBA finals.
The point stands. Yeah, and he also lost in that finals. The point will stand, man. One great playoff run will do you justice. And it's not going to make us look at you in that tier of guys who never got it done. We'll say, okay, you had missed opportunities, but ultimately, if James Harden wins a championship this year, we're going to look at him as a top 30 player of all time. Whereas right now, probably top 40.
God. I got him. No, maybe for you, because I don't know. Again, this goes back to another argument that we've had on this show, the Eli Manning argument, the Hall of Fame. This is a perfect example of this. 2 playoff runs. Nobody wants to look at the other 14 years of his career. Nobody wants to look at them. They want to sweep that under the rug and just look at two historically great playoff runs. Dirk Nowitzki was also the man on Dallas, John. Right? That's a major difference than right now this isn't Houston. This is Philly. He's the number 2. He's the number 2. Clearly the number 2.
The number 2 that won game 1 without Embiid and also game 4 in the first round.
All right, so I didn't want you to
the game 1 where you outplayed Jason.
I didn't want you to push me to this, but you kept pushing, and I don't know where this is coming from, which is hilarious to me. I mean, it really. You are living up to the name. You are living up to that nickname that you have. You are living up to that nickname.
What's the nickname?
So here we go. Right, let's start it off. This is only from. I've read a couple of these numbers off. We're gonna go through this now. This is only from April 29th, so I haven't looked at the last couple of games that he's played and added this to this. But 11 games shooting 18% or worse, 26 games shooting 29% or worse, 64 games shooting 38% or worse, 49 games shooting 48% or better, 60 games of 19 points or less. He's played 153 games as of 4/29 this year. Let's go to 2012 NBA Finals. Albeit 6th man, right? Wasn't the man. We'll give him that pass. But he was great in the Western Conference Finals versus the Spurs. He put up 18 points per game, 49% shooting from the field, 61% from 3. Let's go to the NBA Finals where he came up small. 12 points per game, 37% from the field, 32% from 3. Games 1, 2, and 4, Harden was shit. He averaged 7.3 points, 23% from the field, 18% from three on 32 minutes. Games 3 and 4, most glaring because Russ and KD did their thing. James Harden didn't. Let's go to 2013. Albeit first time in a playoff run as the man, right? We'll give him a tiny slight pass this one. The counting numbers were there. He only had really 2 star-like games, though. 26, this is what he did. 26 points, 6.7 rebounds, 4.5 assists per games. You just stop there, that's pretty damn great, right? Can I get a head nod or yes? That's pretty great, right? The counting numbers are there. Let's keep going, though. Dig a little deeper, guys. 4.5 turnovers, 39% from the field, 34% from three. Harden shot 37% or worse from the field in 4 out of the 6 games and shot 16% in 3 of the first 4 games that series. Game 4, one of their 2 wins, 15 points, 1 board, 3 assists, 10 turnovers. 4-12 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. Let's keep going. 2014 first round. Second series as the man went worse. 37% or worse from the field in 4 of the 6 games like last year. 27 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 5.8 assists. Again, the counting numbers are there. That's great. Let's dig a little deeper, though. 37% from the field, 29% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. That's great. But again, those shooting numbers, that's not good. Howard was incredible that series, though. Dwight Howard, you remember him? The teammate that came to Houston with him, and then he kicked Dwight Howard out the door in Houston because he said he's not the guy for me anymore. Oh, he was incredible in that series. He was 26 and 14 on 55% from the field. 3 blocks per game. You want to know something else, though? James Harden was arguably the 4th best player in that series. 4th. Dwight Howard, Dame Lillard, LaMarcus Aldridge. Don't believe me? Go check the numbers yourself. That was Dame's 2nd year, by the way. Next up, 2015 playoffs. Game 6 versus the Los Angeles Clippers. This is an interesting one. I don't know if you guys remember this one. The Rockets were down 89-70 with 2 minutes and 34 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. The Rockets came back and won by 12. Did that with no Harden. He was on the bench. You know who combined for 31 points during a 34-10 run? You guys want to take a guess at 3 guys? No one. Jason Terry, Corey Brewer, and Josh Smith. Man, that's interesting. James Harden didn't shoot well in game 6 or 7 either. Conference finals versus the Golden State Warriors. Harden had 3 good games, but in game 3, down 2-0, he came up short. And in game 5, down 3-1, the closeout, he shrunk. Game 3, 3 of 16 from the field, 17 points. Game 5, he had 14 points, shot 2 for 11 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. A playoff record, 12 turnovers. 2016 first round. Harden had 2 good games, but was very inefficient in the first 4 games. Game 2 with no Curry. No Curry. Harden goes 7 for 19 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. Game 4, I should say. He scores 18 points, 4 for 13 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3. Curry got hurt in this game. Curry didn't play in 3 of the 5 games that series, guys. Outplayed by, guess who? Mr. Klay Thompson. What? What's happening? Klay Thompson, the guy who can't get his own shot? You got outplayed by him? In games 2 through 5, this is what Klay Thompson put up. 25 points, 48, 46, and 82 while guarding James Harden. Interesting. Let's see, where are we at now? We're at, 2017 semifinals. This was this was right before. This was right before the Big Four Golden State. This was against the San Antonio Spurs. This is another holy shit moment. Don't know if you guys remember this one. All right, so game 2, 13 points, 3 for 17 from the field, 4 turnovers. He had more turnovers than field goals made. 4 turnovers, 3 field goals made. I don't know if that's good. I think that's pretty bad, though, if I'm going to be honest with you. Game 5, 0 for 3 from the field, 3 turnovers in OT. Oh, and he got blocked by Manu on a game-tying 3-point shot in overtime. He also had 9 total turnovers. Game 6, 10 points, 6 turnovers, 2 for 11 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3. The points and field goals made tied for a season low that season. His plus minus was a season low. He was a minus 28 in game 6. That's
some context here. This is where they say, okay, maybe heliocentric offenses don't work because their stars being given kind of a crazy task of doing everything without a compliment. So in the 2017 offseason, they add in Chris Paul.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, right? You would have a point in that game 6, but what's so glaring in that game 6, John, do you know who wasn't playing on the other side of the San Antonio Spurs?
Kawhi Leonard.
And Tony Parker. 2. So, I mean, you're telling me now James Harden isn't good enough to win you one game when Kawhi Leonard and Tony Parker aren't playing? That's what you're telling me? One game. And he put up 10 points, 6 turnovers, 2 for 11 from field, 2 for 9 from 3. Okay. Next up, the 2018 Conference Finals. Chris Paul's year of coming to the Houston Rockets. The year that I believe Chris Paul turned James Harden into something of what could have been a winner of a championship. He obviously got injured, right? Maybe you want to give him another pass about, albeit he faced the Big 4 Golden State Warriors, whatever you want. They did go to a game 7 though, right? They added Chris Paul. They had a 3-2 lead going into game 6. They had just won game 5 at home. Harden went 0 for 11 from the field that game. Game 6, Houston, they got off to a 17-point lead to end the first quarter. Then an 8-point lead to go into halftime. Harden in the second half was 4 for 10, 3 turnovers, a minus 32. Then we move on to game 7 in Houston. In Houston. Do people remember this game?
The Trevor Ariza game? I remember.
I think it was the worst playoff shooting performance in NBA history.
Talk to him.
They led at halftime by 11 points too. With the historically bad shooting night, they led. Harden in the second quarter went 1 for 10. I mean, we could keep going down the list, but that's where my list ends because the rest of them are gonna, the caveats kept coming in. The next year, Chris Paul, they made it to the second round. I think they got bounced. Then he got him shipped out because he blamed Chris Paul. It was Chris Paul's fault. Get me Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook came in. Oh, wait, it's Russell Westbrook's fault now. Get him out. Wait, now I don't want to be in Houston anymore. Get me out. Go to Brooklyn. Wait, I don't want to be in Brooklyn anymore. Get me out. Now I'm coming to Philly. Wait, I don't want to be in Philly anymore. Get me out. Go ahead, John.
So the Suns, not the Suns, the Rockets missed 27 straight 3-point attempts. They went 0 of 14, golly, in the third quarter of that game 7. Then in the fourth quarter, they actually went 1 of 7. So they took less threes and they're trying to diversify it a little bit. Chris Paul in game 5 of that series suffered a hamstring injury. As he does every year getting injured, his star again disappeared. And the issue in that series was Harden was generating looks for his teammates, but a guy like Trevor Ariza in game 7 is going 0 of 12 from the field. In the same way we talk now about, look, Al Horford can't be going 0 of 7. Neither can Kevin Love. Trevor Ariza took a dozen shots and did not even hit one single 3-point look, a lot of which were open in a game that they lost by 9 points, but it was even closer than that. Even closer. If he makes 1 or 2 of those looks, they win that game. It swings the momentum.
You do realize James Harden went 1 for 10 in the second quarter, right? You're blaming Trevor Ariza, a role player, and you're not putting the point and the finger on James Harden. I literally just listed you over a decade of failures, and you're pointing at Trevor Ariza in a Game 7 in Houston, and James Harden does not show up, and you're blaming a role player.
Role players have to be better at home.
He shot like shit. But for you to stand there, sorry, I don't know if you're sitting on your little stool or not, but for you to be there and after I just literally went down a list, and your first thought is, well, Trevor Ariza went 0 for 12. That is effing ridiculous, Jonathan Tortorelli. Ridiculous that you did that. Ridiculous that you, and you said his star disappeared again. What about Dwight Howard? What about that 26-14? What about James Harden being the 4th best player in that series? You don't want to bring that up. I just went down the list.
And you did a good job. 0 of 12 is 0 of 12, Brandon. I mean, look,
1 of 10 is 1 for 10.
So James Harden had all of that, right?
Oh my God. How are you going to see? I understand.
In 2021, the Brooklyn Nets.
James Harden, and I understand it might seem that way. But I'm just giving you the events of what happened in the history. I don't write the story. The players write their own story. Just like everybody writes their own story in life, I don't write it. I'm just telling you what happened. Okay?
In 2021, James Harden suffers a hamstring injury, grade 2, within 30 seconds of the Boston. I keep mixing up these teams that start similar. Of the Milwaukee Bucks Game 1 versus the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. The Nets that year were quite clearly the best team in the Eastern Conference, as we saw, which by 2 games they were annihilating the Bucks by 41 points, and making it look like Chris Middleton didn't belong on the same floor as them.
What are you saying?
But James Harden did not return until Game 5 of that series, and when he did, his hamstring was pretty badly torn up. Part of it was he forced his way out of Houston, was out of shape, and then injured his hamstring. He probably wasn't in the right conditioning, right?
Yeah.
But then Kyrie also sprained his ankle. The Nets that year were on track to win a championship, far and away. They had a golden opportunity, but injuries really robbed them of that chance. Even still, Kevin Durant was going to take him to the conference finals. James Harden was going out there on literally one leg and not playing.
Wait, what is the, okay, I get all that. I know what happened, but
right.
What are you getting? Are you basically saying like you don't get credit for should have won something, John? That's not how this works. You either do it or you don't.
Context to the story.
I understand the context.
John, are you giving James Harden a pass?
I'm working my way up to 2023 because Brandon's not talking about the story, which is still being written.
Whoa.
In 2022,
you skipped over the bubble
James
too.
Harden
You skipped over the bubble.
Yeah, he literally almost lost to Chris Paul in the first round of the playoffs, but saved it all with 1 block on Lou Dort. And that also saved his legacy. In 2022, he goes and forces his hand with no years left in his contract.
Again, for like the third or fourth time
in 1 year. And then the 76ers without Joel Embiid flop miserably versus the Miami Heat. It was a despicable series and a Game 7 where I remember, just like Jaylen Brown, James Harden saying, well, I couldn't really get the ball. It wasn't really coming to me. And I'm saying to myself, are you serious, James Harden? That's your response as the 12-year veteran, the former MVP on this team? So then he comes into 2023. He takes a pay cut so Daniel House can get into the team. Daniel House, who covered up for him in the bubble. Daniel House that also had a great year last year at the Utah Jazz. And PJ Tucker. He brings in these pieces by taking a slight little pay cut. And then in the postseason, after being stuffed in the All-Star game, which I didn't agree with, he comes out and in Game 1, in Game 2, and in Game 3, he's playing pretty well. Embiid goes down. Harden in Game 4 wins it without him. Gets him that full week to the rest because they swept the Nets. Game 1 comes around. Harden doesn't play. I keep mixing them up. Embiid does not play in Game 1. James Harden drops 45 points and the dagger on Al Horford to win the game. So the Celtics could not guard him at all on switches, and he was torching everybody, not named Jaylen Brown one-on-one. Only guy that can guard him. Game 2 comes around. Game 3, he was miserable, kind of like his old ways. So bad. I could not believe what I was seeing. He just couldn't make a shot. He lost his confidence. He wasn't looking to score. He wasn't aggressive. It looked like a classic Ben Simmons game from a former MVP. Then Game 4 comes around. John Howe is in the house, survivor of the Michigan State shooting. And I'm saying to myself, look, This is an amazing story, but I don't expect Harden to do that again. He drops 42 points. Game on the line overtime. ISOing it up. Hits himself a dagger of a floater. I knew it was going in because the Celtics, just like game one, had no answer for him. Then in overtime, after he forces it, Embiid kicks it out to him on a wide open catch and shoot look. He drains it. What he never did in Houston, playing off the catch, taking catch and shoot threes, shooting from mid-range, taking advantage of the in-between game, defending with energy. He's giving guys backward Wilsons. He's getting huge steals. He's playing better on defense, where he was always rightfully criticized. James Harden's evolving. And yeah, I'm not going to assuage all of his playoff shortcomings, but I do think context matters when we're talking about this guy. He had some really bad playoff downfalls, but at 33 years old, he's starting to evolve his game. And he's also a great human being, too. I want to shout him out because what he's done for John Howe to me, that had me damn, this guy's awesome. He's a great guy.
Man.
So I don't want to come down hard.
Come on, man. Seriously, stop. No. That's where I got to stop you. That's where I got to stop you.
Everybody had going to the finals, even though we knew they were frauds, and now he's got them on the ropes.
That's where I got to stop you. He's got them on the ropes.
James Harden has himself one of the biggest games of his career tonight in Philadelphia. And if he wins this game, now the story is really taking a big turn. Now
John,
to go to the finals. And now, just like Dirk Nowitzki, he can rewrite his legacy.
One playoff run isn't enough.
No, I agree with you.
To erase everything that happened.
It sounds like you don't agree with us because you're just ignoring everything else.
We don't remember guys for all their downfalls 25 years later if they get a championship. We talk about, oh, he finally got it, and that's what we'll remember. We're talking about James Harden's entire career. Yes, he struggled mightily in the playoffs. I ain't gonna
do that.
What we'll look at when this guy's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame is, did he win the championship? If he did,
what the fuck, Hall of Fame? It's the basketball Hall of Fame. Everybody gets in. John, hold on. The context thing is mind-boggling because you say people ignoring context. I gave you fucking context. I gave you context. Fourth best player in a Portland series. Okay, outplayed by Klay Thompson with no Steph Curry. All right, no Tony Parker, no Kawhi Leonard. He loses a game 6 and plays like crap. I gave you context. You want to ignore that. I said a playoff choker can still have great and good games. They can. Two things can be true. He has had 5 good or great games this playoff run. He's had 5 stinkers. Does that computes, right? That's 5 and 5. See, both can be true.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying, and then the part where I had to stop you and I tried to stop you kept going over because you knew I had you is the great man thing. Who the fuck brought up his character? Who brought it up?
I want to highlight that.
All I brought up was the fact that he forced his way out of here, forced this guy out of there, came in overweight, did all that. I didn't say nothing about his character. I'm sure he's a good person. I'm sure he's a great man. I'm talking about his basketball. What's the basketball?